Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking the secretive, dark, and honestly undeniable phenomenon that is the college romance novel, The Ritual by Shantel Tessier. We're going to break down exactly why this book has captured so much attention, where it kind of stumbles, and the truly fascinating psychological paradox right at the heart of its story. Real quick before we dive into the weeds of this fascinating world, just a heads up that you can experience the full audiobook through the link in the description. Keep that in your back pocket as we navigate all these shadows together. Right from the jump, the stark skull makeup and that incredibly moody gothic aesthetic immediately pull us into this standalone series known as the Dark College Romance or the Lord series. This specific book is essentially our gateway into a massive, sprawling universe that has absolutely taken communities like Book Talk by storm. Now, to really grasp this universe, we first have to understand the power dynamics at play. The entire foundation of this world is built on the Lords. This is a secretive, highly influential group operating right at the college. And look, if you get into this society, you're pretty much set up for life. But, as you can probably guess, that immense power comes with a terrifying price tag. They demand absolute, unquestioning loyalty in return. It's your classic dark academia trope, but with the volume cranked literally all the way up. And these dark stakes, they're brilliantly illustrated by the concept of the chosen. So our male lead, Riot, is a senior. Because his college career is wrapping up, he gets this wild privilege of selecting a chosen. Basically, this is a person selected by a lord to just have their fun with, totally no strings attached, right before that lord is inevitably forced into a strict, prearranged marriage. I mean, it's twisted, it's morally gray, and it immediately sets a super tense stage. This dangerous privilege builds right into the core conflict of the story. On one side, you have Riot's expectations. He's a lord. He's choosing a temporary companion to just pass the time. But then on the flip side, we have Blakely's reality. Blakely's the girl he chooses, but she is actually already promised and arranged to marry another lord in this really sad, oppressive setup. So we get this deeply twisted dynamic right out of the gate, where concepts of ownership, power, and autonomy just completely crash into each other. But okay, let's talk about the reader's experience for a second, because it is definitely not all smooth sailing. A major source of relatable frustration for readers is summed up perfectly by this exact quote. There's no way that you don't know what's going on. Seriously, as a reader, you might find yourself literally screaming this at the pages. Blakely is written to be just incredibly naive and oblivious. It's obviously a narrative device to keep the society's secrets hidden from the audience, but if you're a character-focused reader, spending chapters with a protagonist who ignores glowing red flags can drive you absolutely crazy. Even the characters in the book have to stop and ask her how she could possibly be so clueless. As for the pacing, it's honestly a complete roller coaster. It starts off incredibly strong in Chapter 1, with some deeply immersive, dark academia world building that gets you totally hooked on the mystery of the Lords. But then, right around the mid-book, you hit a wall of that frustrating character obliviousness we just talked about, kind of bogged down by some weird choices. But if you stick with it, the last 150 pages transform into this crazy, action-packed, shocking unraveling of the society, with massive twists that, honestly, most readers just do not see coming. When we objectively break down the specific reader critiques, a pretty clear pattern emerges. Alongside Blakely's engineered obliviousness, the author spends a bizarre amount of time describing the exact details of the cars they drive. And for readers who just want to get back to the character development, that really bogs down the plot. Because of all this padding in the middle, the actual resolution of Riot's story at the very end ends up feeling, well, rushed. After a massive 150-page action sprint, it ironically lacks that final punch of gut-wrenching suspense that dark romance readers usually crave. What's truly fascinating, though, is how Tessier handles world expansion despite those pacing hiccups. Enter what we like to call the Tyson tease. There is this highly memorable, deeply intense scene out in the woods with a mysterious side character named Tyson. And this isn't just random filler. It acts as an anchor that instantly hooks you into wanting to read the highly anticipated second book in the series, The Sinner. It's honestly just brilliant narrative marketing that makes you desperate to explore the rest of this universe. Okay, let's shift gears for a minute and look at a really fascinating psychological paradox. How can a dark, secretive college romance actually be a safe space? I mean, it sounds completely counterintuitive, right? How does a book packed with dark themes, intense smut, and a morally corrupt secret society somehow act as a psychological haven for the person reading it?
Well, the secret sauce lies in how the narrative is actually constructed. Tessier actively builds a safe space by establishing a strictly no kink-shaming environment from page 1. She provides constant narrative reminders to the characters, and by extension you, the reader, that feeling a certain way or having certain desires is completely okay. It doesn't mean something is wrong with you. On top of that, she drops actual, real education about kinks directly into the story. Dark romance readers often face a lot of stigma for the books they enjoy, and this book actively fights that judgment from the inside out. It's pretty awesome.
And this emphasis on safety is exactly why The Ritual serves as such a vital entry point into the genre. If you compare it to a massive, harsher hit like H.D. Carlton's Haunting Adeline, you see a super stark contrast. Haunting Adeline is wildly popular, sure, but it is a much darker starting point that does not offer a lot of hand-holding. The Ritual, on the other hand, with its built-in education and constant reassurance, acts as a surprisingly perfect, non-judgmental gateway. It lets readers who are brand new to dark romance explore the genre safely without constantly questioning themselves. So taking the whole shebang into account, the frustrating character choices and the pacing issues with the card descriptions, measured against the absolutely brilliant educational themes, the anti-shaming messaging, and those crazy shocking twists, this book earns a very solid 3.5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Actually, scratch that, maybe we'd even bump it slightly higher for the world building, but 3.5 is the consensus. It's not a completely flawless masterpiece, but it is for sure a highly compelling read that successfully launches a much larger, darker, and incredibly popular universe. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final lingering thought. Are you brave enough to pledge your loyalty to the Lords? It's a dark world on the surface, but as we've learned today, a surprisingly supportive one underneath it all. And hey, if you're ready to take the plunge, don't forget the full audiobook is available right now through the link in the description. Thanks for exploring this complex narrative with me, and until next time, keep seeking out those fascinating stories.